Whereabouts are you from?
Arabiya, from Dubai.
Dubai. Is Beatrix Potter big in Dubai?
I think she's kind of big everywhere.
That was a very political answer, which is no, you were sent here by someone who told you to go.
No, I think these books are iconic everywhere. I mean, for me, the most important thing was my grandmother growing up reading me every single one. She has every first edition.
Oh, that's nice.
So what was your guys' first experience with the books growing up? Do you remember?
My mum used to read us them all too.
My
All
mum
the
read them to
time.
me too, yeah.
So great.
So sweet. Gosh, we better do that for our children, otherwise we would have...
I know.
The circle has to
We would
be
have failed.
failed them.
So each of you, I think, brought a lot to the character yourselves. And I know Will, I think, changed a lot of the characters as you started doing the whole process. So can you walk me through that? How much changed from the script to what ended up on the screen?
I think if we read the script now, we would be surprised by how much it changed, but it didn't feel like it was changing. It just felt like it was sort of adapting because it's bound to, if you're filming something, if you're recording something and the other person isn't there, it's all reactions. So it's bound to happen that you're going to have to tailor reactions and stuff like that.
I feel like, there were sort of different incarnations of them, but every time they would sort of develop, it's almost like they would level up one and they would become more specific and more detailed. But you would have the residue of whatever you'd recorded previously and little character traits. But also, as an actor, it's a really beautiful process because you only get better the more you do it. And so by the time we're recording the final sort of lines or versions of scenes, we've done quite a few hours with the voices, and so it's sort of more natural.
I mean, I think there are funny moments in the books, but this is hugely a comedy. And so much of comedy is about that interplay. So were you guys able to try to build chemistry as sisters off set? Did you meet during the process?
We recorded together to begin with. We had 2 sessions together, which was really helpful.
But I've never met our other triplet.
Really?
Yeah, so that chemistry is, some skills.
That's some serious acting.
That's some serious acting.
And what was it like adjusting to doing this in the first place? I don't think you guys have done much voice work. I know you've done Ray in animated form. Did you
I did also do a Studio Ghibli film. But again, that was very much me. Yeah, that was very much, again, me in a studio. Although that actually only took 2 days, just one chunk. So this was different anyway, because our sessions were spread out over like 2 years for this. So that's interesting too, that there was a lot of time in between each session, which is unusual. But great, because you can sort of like add new things every time.
I mean, how much do you have to adjust to the setting? Or did you have to like tone yourself down a lot? Were you like acting too big? I mean, how is it kind of...
No, I think that Will is a really good sort of barometer for the level and the tone, and I really trust him as a director, and if he needed more it's interesting doing animation because you're in a dark recording studio by yourself, and so in a really good way you kind of lose track of what you're doing.
Yes.
So at the end of 2 hours of doing voices and having Will either physically there or there on Skype, it's just a sort of disembodied head floating on a stand and talking to you, and you're just sort of running around or whatever you're doing as the rabbit, you kind of lose the plot. And what starts coming out is just sort of like comic sort of mess, and then they just will take pieces of it, whatever works. And I think the less you are aware of what you're doing and the more you're just giving over to, for, in our case, Will, often we'd have a line and then he just, at the very end of recording the line, almost before you'd taken a breath, he'd sort of spit out a different version and you would just spit it back at him. And so it was quite quick and spontaneous.
So this film has come out in other markets. Have you had a chance to interact with the young audience, the kids? Have people told you about what they liked about Cottontail?
I was
and
at the premiere in LA, and also I first saw it in LA in a cinema full of kids, and they loved it. But when we were at the premiere, it was, and actually they did this incredible thing. They had this sort of, I think it was a green carpet, and there was, I might have made that up, and there was massive carrots, that definitely happened, massive blown up carrots, and there were bunnies everywhere. It was sort of like being at like a summer carnival back in time or something. There were just children running around with like lollipops and bunnies.
Nice.
Like, it was kind of amazing, and they loved it. They had a
I'm
great
excited
time.
for Sunday because I haven't really experienced the children's side of it. So
Watching it
I'm
with
excited to
kids,
see that. Yeah.
So all of you guys have a long career in front of you. But what was the most memorable moment of each of your careers thus far? What do you think back to? What stands out?
Oh, blimey.
First thing that comes to mind.
I mean, I'm looking at it. So this, I don't know. All of it. All of it. It's sort of like a jumble. Also, things happen. Well, for me, things happen so quickly that there wasn't really much time in between anything to process. So everything's sort of like a bunny with a lightsaber. You know, it's all like an amalgamation of the things I've been able to do.
Mm. I just made a film with Steve McQueen that was pretty wonderful because he's so wonderful.
So brilliant.
I think that one of my favourite jobs to make was a night manager because it was absurdly glamorous. It really truly was like we were just in Marrakesh and then we were in Spain and just these amazing actors around. I mean, we just had fun. So that was a beautiful blend of having like an amazing life while you're working, which doesn't happen very often. Usually you're in a dark studio somewhere. And
when we filmed the first Star Wars, we went to Abu Dhabi for the first 2 weeks. So I was like, oh my God, I'd never been anywhere like it. And I remember eating this back when I ate meat. Amazing steak and lobster. And I was like, someone else is paying. It was great. So
what else
great.
did you think of Abu Dhabi? I need to wrap up.
It was great. We went to a souk. I don't know if that's a word that would be used there. A souk, which was like, oh my gosh. And we went in like proper desert. We went to this amazing hotel. I'd literally never seen anything like it. And I've never been so hot. Like people's shoes were burning.
That was such a blend then. Amazing hotel, lobster, shoes burning. It was just like a fever dream.
Endless sand dunes. I'd never seen anything like it. It was brilliant.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.